Entrepreneurship is all about failing, and not giving up. What's meant for you will always be for you. My name is Mel Yu. I am the owner of MCO Events. I'm a personal branding expert and business coach.
In a world where branding often succumbs to aesthetics over authenticity, Mel Yu has built her career on a bold truth. Brands don't just need to look good, they need to feel real.
If I can do that through bringing community together through events, or if I can do that through allowing someone to understand their story through personal branding, I think that's just the core fundamental need of humans, is at the core of who we are and what we do and why we're on earth. I was a psych. I was super academic, very clean-skinned, and now I'm not so much.
As the Director of MCO Events and Fractional Head of Brand for Founders and CEOs, Yu sits at the intersection of psychology, branding, and human transformation.
I think the first thing is success looks different for all of us, and it's really important to first identify what success is for you. It's been over a decade. So when people come in and it's like, oh, how are you so good at it? It's like, because I've been doing it for over 10 years, just sharpening the axe, sharpening the axe. Well, everything is about an experience and a moment and a story, like a journey. Like, how do we get to that journey? We are starting to trust companies less and less and less. You can't be what you can't see.
Where big dreams meet bold action. Where we share real stories, actionable insights, and the inspiration needed to transform your ideas into businesses. Are you ready to turn your ideas into success and be an inspiration to others? Join Inspirepreneur.
How are you going today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Can you introduce yourself, tell people what your name is and what you do?
Of course. My name is Mel Yu. I am the owner of MCO Events. I'm a personal branding expert and business coach.
Beautiful, beautiful. Which one of those really light you up? Which one of, obviously you're doing so much, right?
Yeah.
Which one of those lights you up? Because that's the part that I want to speak into.
They all light me up. They do. They really do. Each one lights me up in a different way. But if I look at the things that really, the foundation of why I do what I do is allowing people to feel seen, heard, understood. And if I can do that through bringing community together through events, or if I can do that through allowing someone to understand their story through personal branding and really get them to almost be a permission slip to be themselves, that authenticity, it thrives. And then business coaching is watching those aha moments or the penny drop, and then they then in flow and they make all this money and success and all of that. So there's a reason why I do all three and I can't seem to let it go. But they all kind of interrelate as well. So event management is very much about branding. It's branding, but in real life and in person. And branding is about authentic storytelling and your identity and your reputation. So I love playing around with that. So my business coaching will be geared similar to around sort of how do you build your brand or how do you get it into market.
Yeah. And I love how you said you want to be seen and heard. Why is that so important?
I think that's just the core fundamental need of humans, is at the core of who we are and what we do and why we're on earth. I think we want to feel seen and we want to feel heard and we want to feel understood by those that we love and those around us.
Yeah. When did you get into the events management space?
Events, I started in 2013, 2014, was never in the event space. So previous to that, I was a psychologist.
What?
Yeah. So I studied psychology. My parents broke up, divorced when I was 3 years old, and I just was, since an early age, really fascinated about relationships. Why people think the way that they do, why are we the way that we are. So psychology was the natural sort of thing that I geared towards. Yeah, and then we'll go straight into it because I feel like you're pretty deep. But I lost my late partner to suicide at 23 years old, and that for me was a fork in the road of my life, and it just pivoted to a whole nother world. So when that happened, I was suspended from being a psych for 6 months, which is the best thing that ever happened to me. Supervisors were like, you need to pump the brakes and not actually work on this for 6 months, which was, in hindsight, absolutely the right call because I was so traumatized and triggered. If I was working with vulnerable people while I was still vulnerable and unhealed, I would have just dumped all of my stuff on them. So then during that 6 months, the universe always has a different plan for you sort of thing. I ended up falling into events. I started running these tattoo conventions across Australia, which was so left field for me. I was a psych. I was super academic, very clean-skinned, and now I'm not so much. But Angus, who was my late partner, he was heavily covered in tattoos. So I think what happened was I ended up in events to try and keep his memory alive, to assimilate and be closer to him. But I also happened to be really good at it. I happened to be really good at project management and running events. And I did that for the better of 4 years. And at 27 was like, I think I can go out and do this on my own. I'm going to start an event management company.
How did you know that this was your thing? Like, how did you know? Oh,
I didn't.
No, as in like when you were in it, you're like, I really love this thing. Was it one event that really was like?
Yeah, so I think for me, running these tattoo conventions, it was all about having a rite of passage, this ability to be able to express yourself, this body art. I really fell in love with this sort of like subculture of tattoo, punk rock, like this whole rock and roll kind of culture.
Yeah.
And then I just fell in love with the community. I fell in love with all of the planning. And then seeing the doors open and people coming together and just uniting and getting along and creating a moment, creating memories. I really, really love that.
What are some things about events that really peeves you, that you're thinking, man, I really hate about other event organisers, that they don't do or they don't do it properly or they don't see, that you can really see the gap and that you are like a big stickler on this thing? What is it for you?
I don't necessarily have pet peeves because I am very, everyone's got their own formula. But I think that you can, in life, we all go through different events. And I think some events you remember and they leave a lasting impact. And some events you're like, that was a waste of time, or, I'm not going to go there, because events is all about energy. It's all about like, how do you make people feel when they're in your space? And so when we create events, MCO events, and I'm driving that as the visionary, I'm very much attuned to what are the things that we're trying to achieve with this event. What are the values? Do we align with them? What is the outcome? What are the goals? And how do we create an experience around that? So for me, I'm very high touch. So I look at things in such a detailed format of everything from the website, the social media, how you launch the ticket and the event, how the customer experiences your website or booking, all the way through to the automated emails in the lead up to the event, the touch point of having a host girl at an event, or so everything matters for me. Everything is curated to a T to tell the perfect story for that client.
That's so true, because they're the things that you don't even think about.
I don't think many people think about it.
Like everything that you just mentioned about having a host girl, the internet, the website, all those experiences.
People need to experience your brand long before they come into your event space.
Right.
I think. Because they're all micro moments and micro steps. So by the time that, for me, when they've come into my space physically at the event, they're already like dialed in. They know exactly what's up. They understand the key messaging. They know exactly what to do. And then they get to enjoy the moment.
So it's sort of like the saying, like, if men, right, as an example, they want to make love to their wife. It's not just a flick of a switch in that moment.
Not quite, no.
It starts from the morning, right?
Exactly.
It's all those micro.
Talk to me.
Talk to me. Tell me that I'm beautiful, or give me words of affirmation, words of love. And then when the nighttime comes, it's sort of like you've already set the tone.
Yes.
It's that sort of type of.
Well, everything is about an experience and a moment and a story, like a journey. Like, how do we get to that journey? How do we make people feel a certain way? And events do that. Everything is around events, your milestones, your personal events, a wedding, a baby shower, an engagement, a birthday. Everything from your personal life to business and professional is all about human beings congregating together and sharing thoughts and innovation and, debates and conversations. So that's what we really love.
Are you finding it now more than ever that people need to build their personal brand?
Absolutely.
Tell me.
So 100%. I'm a huge advocate. I'm shouting it from the top of my lungs, telling people to build their personal brand because you're going to miss the boat. For the next 5 to 10 years, 100%, a lot of the wealth and success is going to go towards people with personal brands. Why? Is we are, as society, we are starting to trust companies less and less and less. So there was a time where companies like your Telstra's, Apple, these big kind of brands really sold us, with their billboard, with their media, with their marketing. But now over time, what we're noticing is actually social media, our phones, platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, are the things where we're going to look for information. And as we get into such an information-heavy society, everything's at our access, right? Like everything's at our fingertips. Everyone's coaching or talking about the same things. The thing that's going to differentiate you from the other business is going to be you, your personal brand.
Yes.
And building a personal brand means that people trust you, they like you, and therefore they will want to do business with you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's integral that you build a company brand, but build a personal brand along the side.
Because you see these kids, they're out selling Powerade and they're on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And YouTube's Powerade shitting themselves.
Well,
right?
It's Prime.
Yes.
Yeah, Logan Paul. Yeah, of course. So that whole business with Prime is built on personal brands, right? KSI and Logan came together and they're rivalries, right? They're rivalries in the sporting game. Yes. And they came together as two huge YouTubers and combined their brand. And what happened? People flocked to the shelves, stealing it. The price at one point of Prime was like $15 for an energy drink, a sports drink. And it's like, that's the power of branding. Mr. Beast. It's purely a power of personal branding. He's built a phenomenal brand. 23-year-old youngest billionaire. Like it's insane what is happening in this new economy. And this new economy is about the creator economy, the influencer economy, the independent economy. People are trusting individuals versus companies and corporates.
I love that. And I can see why people would love to work with someone like you because you're just so passionate. You know your shit, right? And you go down to the minor detail of everything.
Yeah.
And it's something that you have not just woken up and said, "Oh, I'm deciding to be an events person today." This is part of your lifestyle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How have you been able to build such a successful business? What are some tips and what are some things that you can share?
I think the first thing is success looks different for all of us, and it's really important to first identify what success is for you because my version of success might be very different to other people's version of success. So that's really important to go, hey, like it's not so much a comparison thing, but when people think I'm successful, I actually think it's because people see that I'm fulfilled. Like I'm incredibly fulfilled with my life. It's in super alignment. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking like dollars and figures, there's many, many people more successful than me. Absolutely. First of all is identifying success, what that looks like. Mm-hmm. And for me is being incredibly consistent and disciplined over a long enough time horizon. I've been doing events, like I mentioned, since 2013, 2014. It's been over a decade. So when people come in and it's like, oh, how are you so good at it? It's like, because I've been doing it for over 10 years, just sharpening the axe. And I haven't strayed too far from what it is that I know.
I was asking you, name some really big events that you've done that you're really proud
of. And brands
and people.
So our biggest flagship event was Ego Expo, which is an event that we did, which is Australia's largest street culture expo to date. And that was something that I created as a vision, and it was from nothing. And I think even just the fact that as an independent person with zero sponsorships and investments, starting an expo was a huge feat. And so that was like really cool. Big personal brands that we've worked with. It's not so much like, I think, celebrity tier status, but we work with really good brands like Godwin Charlie, who is like a luxury fashion designer here in Melbourne, and he does Melbourne Fashion Week and things. We work with lawyers, we work with real estate agents, some high-level photographers,
Cool.
So, yeah.
Nice. What I'm seeing in front of me is someone who's so grounded.
I love that.
Right? And someone that can just weather the storm, no matter how hard it is. What that tells me is that you've been able to do this because you're so resilient. You're so resilient. And what I find with a lot of entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, is that there's usually a story in their childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
So as I kind of mentioned, my parents divorced when I was 3 years old.
How was that experience for you?
It was a lot. It was my first experiences of like early mental health, I think, struggles and challenges, because in Asian families and communities, we don't talk about mental health. And so when that happened and my mum actually moved to Sydney, and there was like a whole legal case and everything like that, I think early on, those 0 to 7 years is where you're forming your personality, you know, what does it mean to be safe? And my upbringing wasn't very safe. It was quite rocky. And the worst part was the seen, heard and understood part was I didn't feel any of that. Mental health is kind of swept under the rug and we don't really talk about it. So there was no opportunity for me as a little kid to be able to express like my emotions. And so it would come out as like just outbursts of crying or like lashing out, or like even in my teenage years, it was very like risk-taking behaviors and just being quite, just volatile with my emotions because I wasn't very aware of them. And as a teenager, you're kind of just figuring it out along the way. But definitely like my parents' divorce would be something that was an early onset from that. And then we grew up in a town called Patterson Lakes. So it was a very, for those that don't know or are listening, I like call it like Summer Bay or like, you know, OC. It was very keeping up with the Joneses though. Palm trees, man-made lakes, all of that. But at the time in the 90s, we were one of the only Asian families within our community. And so without even realizing it, just based on the color of my skin, I was always standing out. And as a kid, you don't want to stand out. As a kid, you're like, how do I blend in? How do I belong? How do I just, you know, make it work? Don't attract too much attention. But people would be bullying me for being Asian. People would bully me for being Chinese because we were different. Me and my siblings were all different. But it also wasn't as multicultural then. Okay. So it was just very like, that's the Asian family, that's the Chinese family. And again, that probably had a lot of weight of my identity. Who is it that I'm meant to be? And then as I've obviously grown up, and the woman that you see now is someone that's really made peace with that, done the inner child work, done a lot of personal professional development around it, and recognizing now why I love branding so much is you weren't meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out into the light and step into the light and stand out from the crowd. That's your superpower. There's only one of you, one of me. And once you really understand that and hone into that, everything changes because your energy and your aura is instantly like it's magnetic.
Wow, I love that. And so you mentioned a lot about mental health and mindset. How does this connect to a successful business?
Everything. I think it starts with a vision. You can't be what you can't see. So how your mindset is, how your mental health is, the conversation that you have with yourself, the person that you look in the mirror, do you like them? Are you proud of them? Who are they? And once you really ask these sort of internal questions, because it's all internal. Your external, it's very Joe Dispenza, but like, you know, your external reality is your personal reality. So you got to get that mindset right. You got to get your mental health right before everything else shows up in your external world.
I love that. And that's the other side that I'm seeing of you is that you are very spiritual, right? You are very woo-woo.
Yeah. We'll say this on camera. Yeah.
I'm assuming that in your own business and your own life that you've had some really other troubling times. How haven't you just collapsed and just given up? What is this thing that has been driving you for so long? That I'm assuming that other entrepreneurs, they're like, I'm going to give up. What's the thing for you?
Entrepreneurship, if you're going to enter entrepreneurship and business, it is like swallowing glass every single day and then waking up the next day going back for more. So it's a certain type of breed, right? When I have hats off to anyone that is giving it a good swing and trying to make it out on their own as an entrepreneur, because it's a tough game and it's hard. We're cut from a different cloth. It is so much easier to go into a 9-to-5 for the apparent security and safety of having a paycheck every day, every week. Entrepreneurship is all about failing, and not giving up. It's just this, for me, I don't know how to do any different. Like, it's just part of me now where...
Is it like a knowing that everything is going to be okay? Is this like
I
bigger
think
thing
it's faith. I think a huge thing I lean on is like, what's meant for you will always be for you. My mindset around things is like, well, what's the worst that can happen? I've kind of always played in that. I make decisions pretty quickly now. And then it's like, I know that course redirection is always available to me. So it allows me to not be led by fear or ego or scarcity, and I just go for it. But it's, I think as winners or success, that people have failed way more times than you could ever imagine. We've failed way more times than we've won. It's part of the game.
Nice. What is the thing, you can see your successful future, right? And there is a saying that with every level there's a devil.
Yes.
In your future, you see a successful future. What's that devil that's standing in the way? Because we all have it, right? Even the most successful people. What is it for you? What belief maybe that is there that you could possibly share and just be vulnerable? Because what we're going to do is we're going to get into that next stage of the podcast and remove that limiting belief or emotion, the thing that's been holding you back for so long that you've been carrying. What's this thing that is just there that you've been possibly asking the universe for? What is it?
Interesting.
And it's not a simple question.
Yeah.
It's a loaded question.
Obviously a loaded, it's deep. Because I think I do see my successful future, right? Like I go, there's a sense of knowing that I will ultimately have everything that I've ever desired and wanted because God, the universe, divine, like.
What would make it easier? Like if I was your genie today, like you're going to be successful regardless, right? But what would make it more seamless and more, because you're used to, like from what I understand.
I've just gone through so many hard things, Karim. You know, like it's just, life hasn't been easy for me. Like it's been really rocky, and I'm not saying that to be like, woe is me. It's just genuinely been handed some cards that we have not, you know, even talked about here, but in my personal brand or on socials, everyone sees it. I'm a very hard on my sleeve kind of girl. So people have seen me go through losing my dad to cancer, losing my partner to suicide, infidelity, adultery, like all of these things, gambling. There's been so many themes in my life that have been seemingly out of my control. And you're right. I think the woman that stands here today is because I overcome adversity because of my resilience and I've just never lost faith. But if I was to say like, okay, what's the thing? It would be maybe my own, there is a part of me that goes like, there's a sense of knowing, but then I'm like, but what if it's not on the cards for me?
Yeah.
Because it's been a grind. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, like I've got faith and I've got trust in the universe, but like, oh, what if that's not meant to, like maybe it's not the path for me.
And I think like from what you've told me is that there is a pattern of losing people.
Yes.
And loss.
Yes.
Constantly.
Yes. So one of my beliefs, but I felt like I'd worked on it. Maybe it's coming up and it hasn't. So one of my beliefs was that everybody leaves. I had lived with it since I was like 23 and I couldn't keep relationships because you know what was happening was I was actually living the everybody leaves mentality and self-sabotaging my own life and love and relationships. And then like lately I've actually like really challenged that because I recognize that was one of my core beliefs, like preventing me from all the success and the energy that I want to welcome in. And so I feel like I've done a bit of work on it and really recognize that like not everybody leaves because Mel, you've had your back 34 years.
What is the feeling? Because I work on emotions that cause your behaviors, your negative behaviors. And I work on the 5 key emotions: anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. Out of those 5, which one do you think is the key emotion?
Sadness.
So you already said it before I even finished the sentence. So sadness is the thing that you can...
I feel like I go back. So if I was to look at those core emotions, when I'm feeling deflated or down, it's very easy for me to bring back sadness as an emotion because it's like a comfort blanket. So I can go back into the memory box and look at all the things that have ever made me sad, which is a whole long list. And every now and again, when I go down that memory box and I open it up, there's something comforting about that.
Yes.
Which then takes me back to a place that I don't actually want to vibrate at. It's actually quite a low frequency. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So would you like to remove that sadness once and for all the sadness from your past?
But no. See, I don't know if I would want to remove all of that sadness because it's like a huge part of what drives me. But maybe like in a way that it doesn't.
But is that a limiting belief on its own? That sadness needs to drive you? Is that one of your blind spots?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's a different
that's
thing.
Been
Maybe
like a comforting, that's been like a comforting blanket to you.
Yeah.
That this is like your survival thing. But it's like now I'm like saying, hey, maybe you can start to thrive. It's like, hey, like maybe you don't need this sadness anymore to thrive. It's like this sadness has been this handbrake.
I don't even know how I would live without it.
Who would you be without sadness? And I'm not talking about warranted sadness. I'm not talking about like, you know, someone passing away and you're sad.
Sure.
I'm talking about the stuff that you've held on from the past. This reoccurring trigger and this pattern.
Yes. Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes. Yeah. I wouldn't even know where I'd meet myself.
How would you feel without it?
Free. Yeah.
Cool.
Happy, content.
And how would your business go? How would life be? What would be the opportunities?
I didn't have those negative things holding me back, or like, you know, those sort of stories, maybe I would take even more risks or like be more open to opportunity without feeling like, oh, but what if?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.